Welcome everyone, Marcelo is my name. Part 2 of the Bois Discovery series. Now, last episode I covered 5 fragrances from this discovery set. Today, these are all within one category within the Michael Edwards fragrance wheel. They all fall in woods. Now, there's 2 ways to enjoy this media. One, just continue to watch, put a lot of effort in making sure that you understand what these fragrances are like. Or 2, and this is my invitation to you, jump on the Bois 1920 website, use the code NFC to receive a 10% discount off that discovery set. You're gonna wanna bookmark this particular episode, and the way you do that is you click here, save it here, and when your discovery set arrives, click here and boot back to this production. Now, I'm going to assume that your discovery set has arrived. You do have one in front of you, because I'd like you to put your fragrances in a particular order. The first fragrance we're going to enjoy is SANDALVIA, then PARANA, followed by GIOCO l'alba, and finally finishing with CANNABIS, and then CANNABIS FRUTTATA. If you want to know more who Bois 1920 is, what does that name actually mean, have a look at the first episode that I created. I went into a lot more detail. They are a Florentine-born house. One thing that I do want to point out is that it is still a family-owned business. Guido Gallardi, the original creator of Bois 1920, his family members are still owners of the actual brand. So it's awesome to see a family-owned business in Florence all focusing on niche perfumery. Now, your discovery set will have this beautiful card with all the different notes on the fragrances. I'd like you to put it face down. Let's experience the fragrances together, and occasionally I'm gonna ask you to have a look at that. The other thing I'm gonna ask you to do is spray on skin, because you're gonna find the difference between card and skin is worlds apart. Let me begin. SANDALVIA. Let's spray this one first. The good news is I have sprayed earlier. They're actually on me because I want to talk to you about the dry down. But what are you getting from this on first spray? It's interesting how card and skin, honestly, it's just 2 different experiences. I get this, it's a combination of scents. You know, sometimes there are fragrances that migrate, start here, move there, and all this beautiful evolution. Then there are some fragrances that I find that where they are is where they extend themselves throughout the life of the fragrances. Obviously on the opening there are certain notes that are a bit stronger, but essentially the fragrance remains a singular expression. And I find that this fragrance here does exactly that. Even though sandalwood is in the base, I get this beautiful sandalwood musky tones on the opening. I'm also getting this beautiful green cardamom, but it's not a spicy cardamom. Sometimes cardamom can be, well, for me at least, can be a little bit sharp, a little bit like overtly green. Here, it's almost like it's being tamed. There's an ambrette or some sort of soft, creamy musk that's around it, but coupled with that sandalwood. I love that the name of the fragrance has given away what the fragrance is about. SANDALVIA. Salvia is the Latin word for sage, and sandal, the first part, is sandalwood. The balance with the fragrance is between being green and being woody with a touch of that musk. I find that woody fragrances calm the mind, still the soul. Then there are musky style fragrances. Musky fragrances tend to amplify us, our own skin type, our own musks that we have in our body. This is one of those fragrances where it balances between being a beautiful, woody, meditative, calming of the soul fragrance, but then with this beautiful musk side of things, which amplifies our own skin profile. SANDALVIA does this beautiful balance between that woodiness, the muskiness, a touch of green, and then me. I'm actually the missing ingredient in this particular fragrance. I feel like it works beautifully on my skin type. This is a fragrance that I love wearing as more of a day-to-day. Sometimes you don't necessarily want to be making a large statement when it comes to your fragrance, but I love wearing fragrance every day. So SANDALVIA is that fragrance where I want to wear something, but I don't want to be overtly present with that fragrance. I just want to be me. I find that I get at least 6 to 7 hours, and for me, the sillage and projection falls into that moderate to low. It never goes down to a body scent. People are aware of the fragrance. Subtlety at its best, glorious as a day-to-day fragrance. Next one, I'd love you to spray. PARANA is another gorgeous fragrance that I love wearing as an easy reach. It's something that I don't have to think too much. What am I going to wear today? I have both of them side by side, SANDALVIA and PARANA, and easy reach for both of these fragrances. But what are you detecting on that opening? I remember when I first experienced this, my mind started to race. I'm like, I know this. It does have a very familiar profile to it. It has these beautiful fruity tones on that opening. It does, as it dries down, it does go to these herbal aromatics and finally dries down to a woody style fragrance. Have you been able to put your finger on what that is? I'm deep in the dry down here, but on that opening, for me, it's very Aventus-like. It has this hachivat touch to it. So now, actually, I want you to spray one more time. That opening, to give you the feeling of that gin dryness. So you get a slight fruity touch, but it's super dry. It's almost, it's not necessarily boozy, but very, very gin-like a dry martini. Parana has gorgeous evolution, where it begins and how it migrates through. On that opening, you are getting that beautiful gin-like dry quality. It's not juniper berries. In fact, it's actually cassis and black currant, but I don't get the juiciness or the sweetness of that, but definitely like a fruity juniper-like opening to the fragrance. As it migrates through, it does go to a beautiful birch woodland style aromatic fragrance. There are woody touches to it. There is a slight suede, leathery, but not as in an animalic, more woodland, more birch tar style. Finally, when it dries down, this gorgeous green, woody, aromatic fragrance. Where it started similar or in the same vein as an Aventus, it moves away completely. Where it ends, it has this wonderful green touch to it. If you have your card, I'd love you to flip it over. Interestingly, and this is what I don't detect, in the heart, there are florals, rose, jasmine, neroli. In smelling the fragrance, whether it's on card or on skin, I'm not getting any of those florals at all. What I am getting is a very woodland, very foresty, very fresh, aromatic, woody fragrance. The longevity on the fragrance is fantastic, 7 to 8 hours, and I do feel that the projection and sillage go into the moderate. People are now detecting the fragrance a lot more confidently when I'm wearing Parana. I'd love you to compare the two. So go back to your Sandalvia. Actually, on card is something else. Go back to your Sandalvia. That beautiful ambrette, sandalwood, musky green touch to it. And now Parana. And that birch tar, that leathery touch, the forest land. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. These two here are a lot more comfortable as easy wear, the next one. This baby here, this is one I fell in love like instantly. These two here, as soon as I experienced them, I thought, no problems at all. I understand these. This is something that is comfortable, something that anybody can wear, super unisex. Any time of day, multiple occasions. And then along came GIOCO all'alba. And now what does that mean? Have a look at this photo. I had an opportunity to go to India and I went to a Hindu wedding. It's an 8-day event. Something different happens each day. This is now at the ceremony where the couple were about to tie the knot. Sandra and I, we both dressed up. It was an all-night event. I didn't know this. I didn't realize, I just thought like a normal wedding, you go, beep bada boop, and then by midnight you're going home. It hit midnight and I'm thinking, okay, so what happens now? Because I knew that they were going to be wedded. They were going to be married at this particular event. And then all of a sudden I started to see people sort of going away. So I went to the groom and I said, are you getting, is the ceremony still happening? What's going on? He goes, oh, no. The ceremony can't happen till 2 a.m. I'm like, okay, so what do we do between now and 2 a.m.? Go have a sleep somewhere. So there was a large area. They all had blankets. They all knew the drill. As a Westerner, I had no idea what was happening. It wasn't until about 5:30 that we finished that evening. Now, I'm not a party animal, so I'm not one that will see the sun come up. Have a look at this photo. I saw the sun come up on this particular day. I felt so proud of myself that I had stayed up all night. This is dawn. This is now going back to the hotel, and this is now me about to crawl into my bed to sleep. GIOCO all'alba is about the games that we play all the way through the night until dawn. It could be card games, but I think it's the games of love. And now you've seen the sun come up. This is a gorgeous fragrance that will last you all night long. So you can spray 4 o'clock in the afternoon And know that by 7 a.m. the next morning, GIOCO l'alba will still be present. And actually, it'll be weaving its proper magic now deep, deep into that dry down. I'd love you to spray. This is one that I'm actually wearing today. I love, when I said, as I mentioned, when I first experienced this fragrance, I'm like, this is me all over. Ticks all my sexy boxes. These are the styles of fragrances that I enjoy as a date night, as a going out, as something that just gives you this quiet confidence. What did you detect on that opening? How glorious is that opening? It's just spectacular. I get this beautiful fruity touch to it, like a cherry liqueur or an orange contreau or something very whiskey, a touch of rum. There's a fruitiness in there. It plays on three major notes. One being that whiskey, boozy accord. Secondly, that beautiful, supple, subtle leather touch that it has. And then this smokiness, this tobacco, this smoky touch that it has. On skin, if you haven't sprayed yet, again, these two, very easy to wear, very comfortable. I would recommend you actually spray GIOCO l'alba. Put it on skin. The evolution of what you'll experience from card to actually wearing it are two different expressions. For me, this fragrance and its evolution is nothing but pure love. From beginning, from the moment it opens, all the way through to the very end, that dry down is absolute gorgeous. I find that it has this beautiful, fruity, boozy touch. As I mentioned, is it cherry? Is it orange? Everything is wrapped and soaked in some kind of booze, rum or whiskey or something to that nature. And then migrates through to this wonderful suede, smoky touch to it. Very, very supple. So nothing is over the top. And this is what I love about the fragrance too. Everything is gentle. It's a very sweet caress. And then finally, it does dry down to this wonderful boozy woods. It has a woody sort of strength to it. There is and I don't want to say that it's a masculine leaning fragrance because a woman can easily wear this, but it does have these more woodier touch. But again, woods that have been drowned in some kind of boozy quality to it, whether it's whiskey or that rum-like or cognac or something to that nature. The whole process, the whole time, the whole way through the fragrance, it's nothing but yummy sounds for me. What I love too, because sometimes you find that fruity can be very playful and very girly. So these, very light, fruity fragrances. It does have a fruity touch to it, but it's not a playful fragrance. Then there's leather. And leather can sometimes be a little bit animalic, a little bit sort of forceful. It's subtle, it's supple, it's gentle. And then you have the booziness of fragrance. And sometimes boozy fragrances can be also a little bit on the masculine side. Again, no, this is soft and it's very gentle. The balance on this fragrance is knock out of the park. And no matter where I am on the evolution of the fragrance, I am purely and deeply in love with the fragrance. This is the other magic of GIOCO l'alba. Even though I'm detecting all these notes, certain things come in and come out. It's almost like a wave. Sometimes I get this very booziness and I'm thinking, oh, I'm in the booziness of the fragrance now. But then it washes back and then I'm getting a very supple leather touch to it. And then I'm like, okay, this must be now the leather evolution of the fragrance. Then that pulls itself backwards and I'm getting the fruitiness coming back in, the woods coming through. It's divine. This whole, the whole expression of this fragrance, knock out of the park. I find that this is a great fragrance, as I mentioned, to go out with. You'll get 24 hours plus without a problem. You'll feel it, you'll smell it, others will detect it. I do love that its projection is in the moderate. So it's not this big room filler. It has a very confident moderate. It does, I never feel that it goes anything lower than that. It stays around me quite comfortably. And it's one of those fragrances where I get noticed in. It's one of those fragrances, when I'm wearing it, it does turn heads. People are asking me, what is it that you're wearing? This is a gorgeous, adult, sophisticated fragrance. And and again, as I was preparing for today, why adult? Not that I don't feel like a young person can wear it, but everything about it denotes a level of maturity to it. Everything, all the different notes in here, there's a level of maturity and sophistication. It does feel actually the perfect vision. James Bond meeting Ana de Armas. It's that sophistication of both him and her. And actually, I'm going to say they're both wearing this fragrance. There is something classy, there's something mischievous about the scent profile and knowing that something awesome is about to happen tonight. Boom, there you have it. This beautiful discovery set. We're done. We're finished. There's nothing more to say. The whole discovery set has been completed. Fine, there's 2 more left. So these next 2 I have a hard time with. And before I spray them, bear with me. Now, on the last episode, I talked about Oillataguerre having a very sort of cannabis-like opening to the fragrance, yada, yada, yada. If you have that in front of you, I would love you to spray because I want you to compare. So yeah, it does have like a sharpness to it, but there's sweetness coming through. It's inviting. There's also already like a musky, aquatic touch to it. Okay, spray your cannabis, please. Good luck, everyone. Oh my gosh, here we go. I was preparing for today. I was here this morning and came back into the office, and and I had sprayed all of them, but what I could smell, cannabis. Oh mama. So compare it to Oillataguerre. Oillataguerre is a sweetheart. What are you talking about? Oillataguerre is nothing but sunshine and glorious beach time, aquatic fun. And then there's this thing. I have a good friend of mine who loves punchy fragrances. He's in love with all things Bois 1920 cannabis. If you love fragrances with this green sharpness, dries down to a very bold, aromatic, woody style, the cannabis is your bestest of friend. Not one for me. I find that it is, not that I know what cannabis smells like, so I haven't had the opportunity to experience cannabis other than smell it in the air. Now here in Australia, it's not legal, but you can detect it when you walk around certain parts of Melbourne. And I find that this fragrance here almost replicates that scent profile, but obviously in a perfume. The fragrance pyramid is pretty straightforward. Cannabis on that opening, cannabis in the heart, and cannabis in the base. It does have patchouli and also has some woody notes for structure and to give longevity to the fragrance. But ultimately, this is a celebration of that very sharp, harsh, green cannabis note. And baby, if you like that, this is probably the best in the market. The story behind the fragrance is that Mauro Gallardi, the owner of the business, was at a cannabis fair somewhere in Europe. And as he's walking around and he's smelling the very distinct cannabis note, he's thought to himself, how is it that no one has a really good cannabis fragrance? In his own words, he said that like electricity ran through his body as he sort of like a lightning bolt came to his mind going, we're going to create a cannabis fragrance. Came back Monday morning, and I love hearing the story from Simone's side now. It was another boring Monday until Mauro came in full of energy saying, we're going to create the first proper cannabis fragrance. Interestingly, cannabis within the Bois 1920 library of fragrance has become a huge hit. So apart from having cannabis, the original, there's also fruttata, salta, and dolce. If you want longevity, the original cannabis has 8+ hours. In fact, if you are sensitive to it, you're gonna get 36 hours because I sprayed it. This is very early on. I was meeting with the gentleman in Florence who I just released. I said to Simone, spray me. And he's like, are you sure? And I was like, I'm a big boy. Spray me, baby. Couldn't get it off. And I mean, you know, you have the alcohol wipes and you wash it down. I could smell this green, sassy cannabis note. And if you love this, if you love cannabis, you will love this. It's not, as I mentioned, it's not one that I gravitate to naturally, but when it comes to its potency and power, awesome. Longevity, forever. And when it comes to its projection and sillage, baby, I can smell this thing everywhere. When someone's wearing this, I can detect it. Now, I tried Fruttata, and I'd love you to spray, because I want you to compare between the original cannabis and Fruttata. Here we go. I struggle with this one too, just quietly. I wanted to love this, I promise, because if you look at the notes, if you look at your card, you see that it has a fig leaf and also has some fruit components to it. Actually, on card, it's not that bad. On card, I'm detecting a very herbal rosemary, a slight fruit touch to it. You just get, actually, you're getting that beautiful green fig leaf coming through. However, give this on skin 30 minutes and that cannabis note just comes forward one more time. It does have a fruitier touch to it with the blueberry and the heart, that fig leaf that's in there. But it is a cannabis fragrance. If you love that green, sharp cannabis note, these two babies, it's a dream come true. I just wouldn't recommend that you, before you jump on a plane or go anywhere where you might get too much negative attention, put on these fragrances. I would recommend to you, travel with these two babies here. People who can do fragrance notes that I'm not comfortable with, I love calling them supreme leaders, and I salute you guys. These two are a little bit harder for me to wear, but for those who like that really sharp, beautiful green notes, this is a dream come true. For me, I love living in amongst this here, these ones here, with GIOCO all'alba being my sweetheart. Now, I do want to do a 20-minute dry down. And back. So, did you spray these two? I would love, if you got a chance to experience these two, I'd love to hear your comments. What are your thoughts on both these cannabis fragrances? As I said, if you do like that very sassy cannabis note, these are almost true to form. They're pretty intense. For me, this is where I live. This is what I enjoy. SANDALVIA, incredible. If you love woody fragrances, if you love that musky touch, mixed in with me now, gorgeous fragrance. It will last me comfortably throughout the day, and it's something that is subtle. It's me, but now this beautiful clean skin element touch to it. I love it. So PARANA has become a love for me. It has this great woody briskness to it. I feel like I am in a forest. It does amplify this beautiful brisk air. It's an awesome fragrance. And then this sweetheart here, which I've been wearing. And when you sweat, it smells like magic. I'm getting a bit of that sugary touch. There's a bit of a sugar booziness near the dry down. Just gorgeous. Boom. Hope you enjoyed that. Now, if any of these resonated with you, Bois 1920 are being very generous. They're doing a promo. You have a chance to receive a complimentary 18 ml of your choice free of charge. The way you do that, click on the link below. It will now automatically put into your cart an 18 ml fragrance. The way you do it, select the fragrance that you want. Once you've selected that, it will automatically put in an 18 ml free of charge. Go to the next page, fill in your details, and at the bottom here, write in the fragrance that you would prefer. And that way the Bois 1920 team know which fragrance to send you. So there you have it, the Bois 1920 Discovery Series. Hope you enjoyed that. Love to hear your comments. Anything that resonated for you, tell me how you went with these two monsters at the end here. Tell me about this one, please. I'm hoping people have fallen in love with this gorgeous, gorgeous one right here. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you guys all on the next episode.